Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 91 of Buds and Blue Jays, your place for all things related to the Toronto Blue Jays. As usual, I'm your host, Jesse Burrell, and I am joined by my usual host, Riley McConnell. And today, we may be a day late than we usually are on this show, but we are recapping the series, the home opening series that just was against the Detroit Tigers. We had our first look at the new dome. The Jays finally got to play at home after a long opening series on the road, and Riley, you nailed it, getting 2 out of 3 on the series win. But Riley, how good does it feel to finally have the Blue Jays back home in Toronto?
Feels incredible. It felt like forever. It was only 10 games away. We finally made an appearance back at our home ballpark, the beautiful Rogers Center. And what a new beauty it's brought, man. Can't wait to talk about this series, Jesse. The dimensions and ballpark layout already playing a huge role in the first series that it's been played at, man. It's super exciting. The atmosphere seemed to be electric. Jesse, you were there 2 out of the 3
Sure
games.
was, yeah.
I envy you, sir. That is incredible. I'm so happy for you. It's like probably went to a new ballpark, man. Looks like you got some new merch in the background, Jesse.
Sure do.
It was just a good series. It was just they were good ball games, like you said, as I predicted. We take 2 out of 3. It was a successful series as far as I'm concerned, man.
Today on the show, we are going to touch on all that. We've got some good player performances, too, to talk about. Jays hit 5 home runs in the first game of the home opener, so we're going to touch on all that as well. But first, guys, please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are going hot and heavy now that we are full into regular season mode. So make sure you never miss a video. Hit that subscribe bell so you can stay with us all season long. You can subscribe to the show on Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok as well, where Riley and I will interact with you there. We'll make some good content and follow along with us. But there, Riley, formalities out of the way. Let's get into the game recaps for those who might have missed it. Game 1, this was the Blue Jays home opener. Fred McGriff threw out the first pitch. Good long-time Toronto Blue Jay, Canadian ball player there. Jays win that game 9-3. Alek Manoah got into some trouble early. He gave up some walks and a 3-run home run to Nick Maton. That was all they would give up as the Jays were at 5 home runs as a team, including the first of the season for both Alejandro Kirk and Kevin Kiermaier. Kiermaier also robbed a home run, and the Jays' home record starts out well. Game 2 would happen on Wednesday. The Jays won this game 4-3 in 10 innings as Pedro Martinez threw out the first pitch in that game, and Kevin Gausman Riley was fantastic. 8 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts in this game. The Jays' offense kind of dirtled for most of the game, but they were able to score late, tying up the game of the ninth. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. made a great defensive play to keep things scoreless in the top of the 10th, when then George Springer was able to be the walk-off hero, his first walk-off hit as a Toronto Blue Jay, to win the game in the bottom of the 10th. It was the Jays' 6th come-to-behind win on the season. And in Game 3, the game I was at on Thursday night there, Chris Bassett had a second quality start in a row, which was good to see. But the Blue Jays really struggled, particularly with runners in scoring position. In this one, I believe they left 10-plus runners on base. Bo Bichette had 2 hits. Vladdy reached base twice, but that was really it. The Jays couldn't muster much against Detroit pitching. And after the series against the Tigers, the Jays finished with an 8-5 record. We are second place in the AL East and only 5 games back behind, coming into today, the still undefeated Tampa Bay Rays. So, Riley, lots of storylines coming out of this series with the Toronto Blue Jays. Where are we going first for our thumbs up here?
Man, it's got to be the Game 2 starter for us. It's got to be Mr. Kevin Gausman. The guy was absolutely phenomenal. You said his line, 8 innings pitched, and he leads the league with 20 innings pitched and 3 starts, man. His statistics through 3 starts in the season have been absolutely fantastic. He sings to a 1.35 earned run average and a whip at 1. And, I mean, yeah, he gave up a run in this one. He gave up a home run. I mean, that's first it's happened this year in 3 starts. If we see that 1 every 3 starts from Kevin Gausman, everything is just fine and dandy, man. I was very, very impressed how Gausman used his pitches. And I mean, we always talk about how good his split finger and fastball mix are, but I mean his other slide pieces there he throws, I mean they're all, he's such a dangerous pitcher right now. I mean, if you really break it down, I mean he's probably one of the best pitchers in the American League. Stats not included to that, just the eyeball test, he's looked absolutely fantastic in it. And I'm glad we could pull away with a victory in that game. I know he didn't get the win in it. That's fine. But you know what? I mean, to go out there and throw 8 innings and a very competitive ball game that he was very much a part of, kept everything in line. And yeah, I mean, Kevin Gausman's got to get a thumbs up for that. I mean, you could argue that at this point in the year, he's been our most valuable player.
Great.
And I would probably agree to that, man. I would probably agree. So yeah, for me, I usually don't start talking about pitchers, but right now, Kevin Gausman is probably our most valuable player and definitely gets the first thumbs up from me.
2 massive thumbs up for me for Mr. Kevin Gausman in this one. He is looking even better as my trendy Cy Young pick to begin the year. Riley, the official line, I know he had 8 innings, 11 strikeouts, only 3 earned runs, 5 hits, 0 walks for Kevin Gausman, and a monstrous, Riley, 20 swinging strikes. The thing I love most about Kevin Gausman's start here is remember when he pitched in Kansas City, and he turned in a good start, but we were worried, well, the velocity's down for Kevin Gausman. I think he threw a pitch in the 80s at one point. It was all completely back to normal in his first start here in Rogers Center, up about 1.5 miles per hour on all of his pitches. He did allow a little bit of hard contact. He did give up 2 home runs here, which does happen, but his 11 strikeouts he had, Riley, the most Kevin Gausman has had since he became a Toronto Blue Jay. So a Cy Young season for Gausman officially back on, and I'm excited to see what he does next in his next start.
I would not be surprised if the hotness continues because he looks fantastic, man. I mean, I can't even say it's not too often. I mean, there's a limited amount of Sandy Alcantara's in the MLB that'll throw complete games, one every 4 games. But Gausman going 8 innings. This won't be the last we see a start like that from Kevin Gausman over the next stretch of ball. I mean, I'm predicting some very good things for this to continue for him.
I like that. I like the call. Get Kevin Gausman to be the first complete game for the Blue Jays this year. And I bet, Riley, it would happen sooner rather than later. Another player I wanted to talk about in our thumbs up here was another pitcher. And this one I actually got to see in person, Riley. And this was Chris Bassitt. And his official line here, it wasn't nearly as good as Kevin Gausman's, but it's hard to be as good as Kevin Gausman's line was there. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs allowed, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. And I will say, from actually being in the Rogers Center and watching him play live, you could really tell there were a few times, especially as you got into like the 3rd through 6th inning, that Detroit could not time up his pitches. There were several times where like Tigers hitters were just flailing at that curveball, just trying to get a piece of it, or they were way behind on the fastball. I remember there were a few times, a few late swings, especially from like Spencer Torkelson and Kerry Carpenter, where they were way behind on what was a mid-90s fastball too. And I wanted to add on top of that too, with the trend of velocity being up from all these pitchers, Chris Bassitt threw his 3 hardest pitches in the season this game. Sinkers all in the 94+ mile per hour range. And he did give up some hard hit baseballs, which was a trouble with the first few starts with Chris Bassitt, but only 5 against him. And not a single one of them, though, was considered a barrel by StatCast. So a lot of the hard hit balls were either ground balls or they hit way too high in the air. And that is exactly what you want from our soft contact guy. Just miss that barrel. And if he can continue to do that and he puts up line like this, Chris Bassitt's going to be a winning pitcher more often than not this season.
I mean, I said it last time, the strikeouts and walks were very close in numbers. I think it was 5 and 4 for strikeouts to walks. In this one, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks. That's what I want to see. I think I don't know if I called the number last time, but 7 Ks, maybe even 6 is good. 3 walks is fine. 2 walks would be better. I think this is a very good start. Mind you, the top. Yeah, for sure. But Tigers probably not the most experienced team in the league. Bassitt been around a while. He has pretty good craft in what he does. So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad you got to witness that ball game as well. Obviously, his first start as a Blue Jays pitcher in the Rogers Center, pretty big deal. And, yeah, quality start for Chris Bassitt and losing effort, but that's fine. For him to get a thumbs up, well-deserved.
Yeah, the numbers on the season still look pretty disastrous as a whole. ERA over 7, -0.3 WAR, and his expected ERA of 12.43 right now looks terrible. But I think you and I are both in agreement here that better things are to come for Chris Bassitt. It's all going to come around, especially if he can learn to limit those walks, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, maybe he won't have the illustrious year, but he's definitely not going to. His numbers will get down. He will be somewhere around the 4 earned run average by the All-Star break, I'm sure.
2 for 2. We're firing on all cylinders today, Riley. Give me a player on the offensive side of the ball that impressed you in the series.
So, I mean, there's lots of guys to talk about. I want to give some love to our catcher, Alejandro Kirk, his first home run and 4 RBIs in the 9-run effort. In the 9-run effort, I mean, we could go anywhere on this one. A lot of big bats. We had 5 home runs in the first game of the series. I mean, you could really go anywhere with it. Want to give some love to Kirk, though. Still one of the best at putting good wood on the baseball, hitting to all fields. I mean, you saw it in this series. He did absolutely great. Utilizing the new ball diamond dimensions. I mean, Alejandro Kirk has looked great. I mean, all our hitters for the most part have looked great. I'll keep it short with Kirk, but he's done very well, and his defensive side of the ball is also looking really good too. Nothing off the top of my head, that's coming out from the series, but he's done a very good job at the plate as well, driving the balls to all fields, and yeah, picking up some extra base hits now too against the Tigers.
Yeah, there was some good stuff here. That home run was roped. Like, that left the bat so fast. At least it felt like it from watching from the 500s level there. And I will say, too, he had a good sacrifice fly, I think, late in game 2 there to tie the game. He had a good at-bat in the 3rd game of the series, too. So Kirk isn't perfect. He still does have a little too much soft contact, but it was really nice to see him barrel it up. And I'm still impressed by his framing and his stuff behind the plate. He actually caught Chris Bassitt in game 3 because Danny Jansen has still been a little bit under the weather. So I was actually really impressed, too, to see how Alejandro Kirk behind the plate was able to handle Chris Bassitt and his 7 pitches that he throws. I also thought it was impressive, too, that maybe it's not an accident that Chris Bassitt had his best start while Alejandro Kirk was behind the plate. Maybe we see that tandem a little bit more going forward. Riley, go ahead.
Alejandro Kirk's going to be a great signal caller. So him to call the pitches for Bassitt and him to do those, to have that start he did. I'm sure it's no accident, Jesse, and we're going to see this a lot. Alejandro Kirk, a good guy to have behind the dish.
And I wanted to throw just a little mini thumbs up, not all the way, but to Brandon Belt. He was a thumbs down on our first 2 episodes. He actually did pretty good in this series. He went 4 for 8. He had 2 games. He had 2 doubles, including baseballs that he hit as hard as 104.5 miles per hour, 103.5 miles per hour, and 95.4 miles per hour. And most importantly, Riley did not strike out once this whole series. Maybe he just had to get back to Toronto and have those chicken fingers he was talking about in the offseason. Is all it took to get Brandon Belt back on track. Still a long way to go to really get his numbers back to where we think they should be. But I would bet that the home run power comes back. And if it doesn't come back soon against the series against Tampa Bay, I bet it would come back shortly after. So mark me down for Brandon Belt to go deep at some point in this next week here.
I'm not putting out any money on him to make the All-Star game, but that'd
be tough.
For him to be an effective part of this Blue Jays lineup, I'm sure it's going to happen eventually. And if he can string together a 3-hit game every now and again, that would be fantastic. Obviously, it's a consistency, though, Jesse. You don't want to put him in the lineup for a series and him go 0 for 4, then sit and then go 0 for 4 again, something like that. So, yeah, we'll give him some love. 3 hits in a 9-run ball game. That's pretty good, man. Give Belt a little bit of love for sure.
I think he's getting his swagger back a little bit too. For a guy like Brandon Belt, the guy they call the captain, I feel like having swagger is a little important there. From one guy in the Blue Jays with swagger to another one, segue. We'll go to a guy who might actually make our little first thumbs down here, Riley, and it's our guy, our opening day starter, Alek Manoah. And here is his official line, Riley. 4 1/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 5 walks, and only 3 strikeouts. Riley, this is now 9 batters he has walked in his last 2 starts for Alek Manoah. He didn't have 5 walks in any start at all in 2022. I guess on a scale of 1 to 10, I think I asked you this last episode. I'm going to ask you again. How concerned are you about Alek Manoah so far this
year? I mean, I think I said a 1, so I'll bump that number up to a 3 now. And if he has another bad start, then I'll keep bumping that number up. It's just, I mean, I have no reason to believe that he's going to do this as often as he has to start the season. I mean, he has never been a suspect for this kind of pitching before. Since his rookie year, since his great sophomore season, and now we're in our kind of 3rd year in the MLB, his 2nd real full season where he is going to probably get 33 starts. And I mean, he's got a long ways to go. I mean, he's got, if you do the math, 30 starts left to really pull his numbers around. And in those starts, he could do a lot of magical things. But how often are these blowups going to happen? I'm at a 3 right now, Jesse. I really want to see a couple more quality starts before this happens again, because it's bound to happen. That's baseball. But for that to happen, twice in the first 3 outings for him is it's a cause for concern. I'm less concerned though because it is Alek Manoah, and we know how dominant he can be.
It sure would. Like, let me have a nice sigh of deep breath here. If he could just put it all together and just have the dominant Manoah performance we got so used to seeing last year. In terms of the walks, Riley, I don't think I'm that concerned either. He threw, I don't know if it's the exact number, but he threw close to 70% of his pitches for strikes. So it's kind of weird that you still walk by batters with 70% of your pitches are strikes. I don't know. But the one thing that did concern me here is he did not get a single swing and miss on any of his pitches in the zone. So every time a Detroit batter swung at a pitch in the strike zone, they made contact with it. Now, Alek Manoah has never been a truly elite bat misser. That's never been his claim to fame, but you do want to see a little bit more of that. Maybe guys are just picking up the pitches. Maybe they're recognizing them out of hand a little better, and maybe that's what's causing some of the rise in walks, and maybe that's what's causing a little bit more hard contact against him. We'll see. Look for Alek Manoah to maybe make an adjustment in his next start. See if Pete Walker catches that too, to get him on the right track and get him to the guy we know he can be.
Jesse, it's only a matter of time, man. He is that big game player for us. And yeah, adjustments will be made. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I'm sure things will get better as the season progresses for Alek Manoah and then the rest of the games that follow.
I'm with you on that too. I'm not really concerned. I guess if I had to put my number on it, I'd go 2.5, but there definitely are some warning signs there. Pay attention to it going forward. Some more players I want to talk about that get my thumbs down, and I'm kind of grouping a group of 3 together, and that is our second base / left field platoon, and that is of Santiago Espinal, Cavan Biggio, and Whit Merrifield. I wanted to see a little more, Riley, and at the game on Thursday where the Blue Jays only mustered 1 run, our bottom of the order was these 3 hitters. It was Merrifield, Espinal, and Biggio. And there are a lot of numbers down there that might concern you. Espinal's WAR this season, 0.3. He's hitting 0.8 coming into the game, so 0.80 coming into the game. Biggio's only hitting 160, WRC plus of 63. And Whit Merrifield, who has reached base in every game he started so far, but he's also rocking a 67 WRC plus. And he had a ball, too, on Thursday night in left field that had about an 80% catch probability that it just looked like he just gave up on, let the ball drop. I'm not saying there's anything here yet. I think we all expect more of the same from these 3, but in any given night, Riley, 2 of these 3 players are going to be playing, and they're going to be playing quite regularly. So the Blue Jays might not have the pure dominant offense we thought, unless we can get a little more from these 3 players. So do you have a takeaway on any of these guys?
I mean, I certainly thought out of the 3 of them, you can definitely group them. But I still think to this point in the season, Whit Merrifield is probably the guy I'd roll with the most. At this point, though, I'm a little bit less on Espinal than I was. I don't know where I rank him in the depth chart. I don't think he had a hit the whole series per 7 or 8 at bats, which is fine. But in that game, like you said, in the 3-1 loss, I mean, when the bottom of the order could have rallied a bit, I mean, no one really, quote unquote, stepped up to the plate and produced any kind of runs. It's, you know what? We knew this. That's why guys hit 7th, 8th, or 9th in your batting order. If they put up good numbers, they would hit 1, 2, 3, or 3, 4, 5 in your lineup. That's, you know, these guys are the bottom of the order for a reason. Still want a little bit more because, you know, take a load off guys like Bo Bichette and Vlad, who have had fantastic starts to their season. And, you know, it's got to turn that lineup back over, boys. But a little more, you know, I can't really say much about Biggio. I still don't know what I exactly think of him and his role on this club. A little disappointed in Espinal. Whit Merrifield's never really going to have the advanced metric stats. I mean, he might be a guy who can hit some base hits and maybe draw some walks, get on base, but his advanced power statistics will not rank him that high. If anything, you know, get him running the bases and playing good everyday defense will make him an above average player. But yeah, would like to see, you know what, Espinal's probably not going to get an all-star appearance this year, which is fine. But I would like to see a little bit more, man. That's all I'm asking for Espinal, because he was great for a stint last year. I want to see that a little bit, or else, you know, I'm not really a believer in it. Espinal never with a really high ceiling. Yeah, I knew he was kind of playing above his pay grade or his pedigree last year, and now I think he's finally gonna level out. But let's get as much out of him as we can.
For his last 13 is Santiago Espinal, and he doesn't have a walk yet this season either. His max exit velocity, 18th percentile. In fact, both of his hits, Riley, have just been ground balls kind that just got past the shortstop. So not even into line drives from Santiago Espinal this year. I think we both think he's a better hitter than this. It'll come. But if this keeps happening, this might open the door for a guy like Otto Lopez, who really impressed during spring and in the World Baseball Classic, and a guy like Addison Barger, who I know I know Isaac, who's on the show sometimes, are all really hyped about Addison Barger. So this could be the spot if one of them don't perform. I believe he has options remaining still. There could be a chance we option one of these guys and bring up one of these young kids if these guys keep struggling.
We are due for a big trade. Not no spoil, like in the later on in the season. I mean, we're like 13 games in, 14 games, however you want to rank it. But around the trade deadline in 3.5 months or whatever it is from now, there will be moves made. And will these three still be on the Toronto Blue Jays come that time? I'm not too sure. I'm not calling it yet. We'll see how things progress. But you could see some transaction go any different kind of direction as the season progresses because we're starting off good and we will be buyers this year. Of course, we are a playoff team.
Yes,
we got to play the smart thing there. And one of these guys is probably going to be sitting on the benches. And we got good guys coming up, as you said. I can see Barger. I can see Lopez having phenomenal seasons in the minor leagues. And what do you do with them after that? Well, maybe it's time to call them up. So someone's got to go. Not sure who that's going to be. Not sure when that's going to happen. But Jesse, it's bound to happen. So maybe we split that up eventually as the season goes on. I'm talking 2 or 3 months down the road, man. But I just, trying not to Nostradamus it, but I can see something like this happening as the season progresses.
I think you're not alone with that take. I think it might actually be happening sooner rather than later. We'll see if these guys can pick it up. Something to watch for this weekend against Tampa Bay. Some news and notes, Riley. Danny Jansen was out of the lineup with an illness, but he has now returned to the lineup as well. Matt Chapman was scratched from the last game here on Thursday due to a viral infection or some type of sickness that he had, but he is just a superstar. I believe he'll be back in the lineup soon. I don't think it'll be too much. And Kevin Kiermaier, Riley, we talked about this a little in the open here. He robbed a home run. He went to that short porch, which is exactly what the Blue Jays envisioned when they made these renovations, that Kevin Kiermaier was going to rob some home runs. I did not think it would take 4 outs into the game for Kevin Kiermaier to be able to do that, but this is already working quite well. And the outfield defense as a whole, Riley, already working fantastic. Coming into Thursday's game, the Blue Jays led baseball in defensive run saves. So the plan that they worked all offseason to get seems like it's all coming together so far. So any takeaways on those players there?
Oh, I'll make it brief. I could go on and talk for 20 minutes about the outfield defense. Kiermaier in the top of the second making that catch. You want to introduce, for people who might not have liked the dimensions, I was skeptical and stuff. I saw it, actual games go on. The only thing I really loved about the Rogers Center was because of the symmetry. I'm a fan of symmetry, but these dimensions look amazing. And Jesse, you want to talk about jumping right out of the gate and introducing fans to a new experience at the ballpark. We remember Kevin Pillar scaling the wall on, I believe it was Tim Beckham of the Rays, and robbing a home run, and he elevated himself and propelled up the wall. The wall was shorter in center field for Kiermaier, but he really played that well. And, early in the ball game like that, first game, man, I mean, that's unbelievable stuff from Kevin Kiermaier. This guy is still an elite defender and, probably one of the best in all of baseball. It has been for a long time. Absolutely fantastic. I'm seeing all of our Twitter fans absolutely loving this guy. So that's great. That's great to see, man. He's made his mark already. He's done well. For what he is, he's done quite well at the plate. I talked about it last episode. And I mean, maybe coming up against his former club, maybe we see some good hits in the next series. But yeah, super exciting guy to watch, man. I also want to just quickly mention that it wasn't a catch, but George Springer had one of the nicest traps I have ever seen laying out for a ball, and it went happening into his glove. I know it wasn't a catch, but keeping the ball in front of you, I've done this before personally as an outfielder. Making a diving catch is a lot easier than diving for a ball and playing it off a very short hop. You have to angle your glove a completely different way, contort your wrist, and try and get on top of that baseball. Springer full force in front of him, you know, and he made a great play. It's a, you know, low key, I know it's not really a highlight, but kind of just something I love to watch as an outfielder. I mean, he absolutely went full force to catch it, didn't get there, but kept it in front of him. So, and George Springer, just done great.
Yeah, and that's not soft turf on the Rogers Center that he's crashing into either, right? Like, that's going to hurt when you're going down there. But that is the difference of, hey, keep that ball in front of you and let the guy only get a single. And if that ball gets by you, he's on third, if not worse. Good on you, George Springer. That's a little mini thumbs up from Riley and I here as well. Riley, I want to take a note down to the prospect farm here. And this is what Rickey Tiedemanns did in his first start with the New Hampshire Fishercats, Riley. 3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 9 strikeouts. Yes, Riley, you heard that right. He got 9 outs and struck out all of them. Now, his fastball was electric too, touched as high as 99 miles per hour, Riley. Like, he is almost a man among boys, even though he's only 20 years old now, pitching in New Hampshire right now. If he keeps this up, man, he is not going to be in New Hampshire for long. I would expect the Blue Jays bring him to Buffalo maybe by the end of the month, if not the end of next month. And he will be an option for the Toronto Blue Jays if he just continues to dominate like this, because he just seems too good. And you can make the real conversation across Major League Baseball that Rickey Tiedemanns might be the best pitching prospect in the game right now. So, what do you think about Tiedemanns' first start there?
That's not even a hot take. I think it's closer to the factual aspect of ranking based on performance and not where the scouts have him ranked. If you want to talk about performance, there's no better appearance as a pitcher than having all your plate appearances or batters face result in a strikeout. I mean, that's what you're trying. I mean, you're just trying to get the guy out. Good pitchers will tell you you're just trying to get it out. But I mean, if you can strike out 9 guys in a baseball game, 9 strikeouts in a ball game, those are pretty good numbers. If you can strike out 9 guys in half a ball game, that's very good. If you can strike out 9 guys in a row in 3 innings pitched, we're talking like that. We're talking some great. We're talking, dude, stuff I did. That's video game stuff right there. That's video game stuff. Striking out 9 guys in a row, almost unheard of. With how good hitters can be at just getting bat on ball and in the luck of baseball. Rickey Tiedemanns is the real deal, man. I know there was a conversation of I didn't think he was ready, and that could have been the case. But Jesse, as of right now, this man, for what he's doing at the AA level, is. I'm not saying he's ready this second, but he is just about on the cusp of making a huge, gigantic leap forward in his major league career, his professional baseball career, whatever. This guy is going to be a player that matters in Major League Baseball, and he is in our system, tearing things up. I couldn't be happier about that, man.
He is on the Alek Manoah pipeline to success, and we saw how good Alek Manoah was his first 2 big league seasons. Rickey Tiedemanns could be well on his way. He's the Blue Jays' best pitching prospect since that guy, Nate Pearson. And let's hope Rickey Tiedemanns can have a better career than Nate Pearson. I'm betting that he will already. I'm excited to see it. I can't wait to give you another Rickey update as we go. Riley, aside from the players, I want to talk a little bit about the Dome experience because I was there for 2 out of the 3 games here and this series. And I wanted to talk about some of the new features they've added to the Rogers Center, man. And I was blown away going through there. The first night I was there, I took a tour through the 500 level. I went through the park social that they have, which is actually a great spot. You genuinely kind of feel like you're at a park, right? And you can kind of look down and you can see the baseball game that's there, but you don't really feel like you're in a ball game. And I thought that was really cool. They had plants, they had trees, they had stuff all there. They had a massive chalkboard you could sign. I wrote the Bloods and Blue Jays logo on there, so that was very fun. They have areas for kids to play MLB The Show, to hang out, shuffleboard, all that stuff. I thought that was really cool. And then if you go to the Corona Lounge, that's more of your bar area. You can go there. I was quite impressed with that as well. And Riley, the things I liked the most that I saw on opening night there were you are so close to these Blue Jays bullpen. Like, I don't think you realize how close you can be to the Blue Jays relievers or to the opponent team's relievers when they are rolling up. Like, you can almost like feel them breathe, Riley. You are so close. And like, if you're a fan getting in there, you can really get into the opponent and stuff. And it's quite something if you're a fan of pitching to just sit there and kind of watch these relievers go to work. I was very impressed with that. And a whole bunch of other stuff. I got to have a hot dog at the hot dog porch, just as advertised. I got to see the hot dog teeter-totter. Very, very fun stuff. I'm excited, and I can't wait for you to get there and share your experience.
Oh, I will be going very, very, very shortly, I'm sure, Jesse. I mean, it's great stuff. You'll probably find me in that MLB The Show section, beating
Yes.
beating the crud out of a 9-year-old playing MLB The Show. I'll let him use. He can be era expansion, whatever great team, and I'll pick the freaking Chattanooga Lookouts and I'll destroy him.
Setting the bar pretty high, man. I was walking by. This kid was winning 86-3 in a game of MLB The Show there. So you better have that power swing ready to go to get those games going.
Yeah, on beginner. Okay, yeah. I do dynamic difficulty, and for about 5 seconds I was rocking it on Hall of Fame, and then they boosted me down after I gave up a 3-run shot this afternoon. But anyways, we'll stay focused. Baseball, MLB The Show is great. Let's stay focused on our Blue Jays, Jesse.
100%. Time to pick up the controller. Practice. The grind never stops, Riley. You can get there. I guess we do have to preview the kind of Rays series. It's kind of cheating because we already know how the game happened tonight. So without giving away any spoilers, Riley, how do you think we're going to do against the undefeated Tampa Bay Rays this weekend?
I will tell you, they will not sweep us.
Yes,
they will not sweep
Guarantee.
us. That is my only. That we don't, as I celebrate in my seat here, I'm not going to spoil it too much. But hey, we Barrios game 1, Kikuchi game 2 against a very good team. So I mean, what does that tell you? And then back to the big guns. So I mean, Tampa's going to be a team that we're going to be competing with this year, and they've looked really, really, really good so far. They have great pitchers, and not even they got guys on the IL, and they got guys, still coming up and throwing the ball well. I mean, one of the best starts in Major League Baseball. What can you say? We've been off to a hot start too. I would really like to split this series, truth be told, Jesse.
Oh, 3-game series, so they're either going to win or
not. Oh, sorry. Okay, well then, perfect. That next game doesn't even happen. So we're going to take the series by a total of 2-1. And we go from there, man. I still think, that we have 3 of the best players in Major League Baseball at the dish, Vlad, Bo, and Chapman. I think it still continues. I don't know if Vlad's going to slow down. Chapman, I mean, he just about, I mean, what I looked up a stat, he has an OPS plus of 282, man.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's bonkers. That's bonkers, man. Is it going to stay like that for long? No, but I bet you he's going to get an RBI double or something along the lines of that. And Bo Bichette, just a damn hit machine. We'll have more on him next time on the show. But I mean, and Vlad, what else can Vlad do? I mean, his defenses look good. We touched on it briefly that he bailed Bo out on a throw to, keep the game rolling. That was great. And I mean, yeah, probably more. I mean, this is maybe going to be moving into Vladdy's house. I know my boy Matt Chapman had the first one on our side in the new dimensions of the Rogers Center. But I think eventually Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to take over, and this is going to be his big season. He's already had one very big season, and I think we're going to get close to replicating that this year.
Looking forward to that, too, against the series of the Tampa Bay Riley. I just want to say it bugs me that they started the year 13-0, undefeated. The Yankees got off to such a hot start last year, and I felt like even though the Jays are playing well, they're still playing catch-up all season long. That's kind of how it feels here. But I do want to add, Riley, the last team in baseball to start 13-0, it was a Milwaukee team. I don't remember exactly what year it was.
87.
Was it 87?
They 87.
Went on to lose 12 straight after their 13-game winning streak. So let's do that to the Tampa Bay Rays. Get back to 500 by the end of the month and see what happens there. Riley, that'll do it for our episode here today. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back sooner than you realize to recap the series of the Tampa Bay Rays. Until then, we'll have a good one. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, not Snapchat. Not yet, at least. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can follow us on through there. Please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. Riley, do you have anything else to add before we call it an episode here today?
I think the only player I would know on that 87 Milwaukee Brewers team, I would just guess Robin Yount. And probably, I don't know. But I can tell you who's on this Blue Jays team. And will we win 12 in a row at any time this year? No. But there's a very good chance that we string together a good amount of 12 games coming up against the Rays and beyond, because, and again, no spoilers, but Jesse and I came on the show pretty damn happy, and it's what 17 minutes after 11 on a game night we didn't even talk about. So
that's right.
No spoilers, but we'll view the Rays in a few days.
We'll see you guys then. Until then, let's go Blue Jays.
Thanks, guys.